On a dead planet, there are no jobs, and there are no farms, and there are far fewer people, if any. This sounds stark because it is stark. For many years, I've been speaking and writing about the challenge of environment and the necessity of taking this challenge seriously. For example, in my book, An Ireland Worth Working For, which I published when I was director of the Nevin Economic Research Institute in 2019. I believe that Ireland is very vulnerable to external shocks, and this is particularly true in the wake of the victory of Donald Trump in the United States, but also the uncertainty around regional conflicts that could escalate at any moment in time. As an island nation, we rely on fossil fuel imports, gas and oil in particular. We need to change, we need to prepare, and we need to do it much more quickly. We need to bear in mind that a just transition towards a zero carbon economy and towards a sustainable way of living, producing and consuming will require sacrifices. But these sacrifices need to be done and shared in a way that is fair to all, so that some sectors and some households that consume relatively more fossil fuel energy or that are engaged in production that is presently giving rise to a lot of greenhouse gas emissions, those sectors and individuals need to be equipped, if necessary, reskilled and redirected to other activities. But also low-income families need to be compensated for any costs that arise in the area of energy. There has been something of a backlash against environmental policies, not just in Ireland, but across Europe. And many populist politicians are jumping on the bandwagon to oppose measures that are necessary going forward. We also have, of course, a lot of misinformation about climate change, and I'm not going to address that here. We need to tell the truth about the environment, about those things that we cherish and love in common, for our own sake and for our children's sake. We need also to acknowledge, of course, the difficulties and pain that's involved in a genuine just transition. And for those reasons, we need to proactively invest in infrastructure, in offshore wind, in public transport, in renewables. We need to compensate families, rural communities and farmers in a just transition. And we need to plan and invest for a zero carbon public transport system for 10 million people living on the island of Ireland in the near future. Of course, this will take money and time, but I ask, what is the alternative? Government needs to switch its emphasis from carbon taxes, where the consumer pays, to carbon taxes, where the polluter producer pays, and use the money to fund a just transition and to invest in renewables and in ways that pay dividends to households, businesses, farmers, and communities. If elected, I will uphold climate law and work with progressive and environment-focused parties to create a revised climate action plan. Secondly, I will press for policies to reskill and train workers to prepare for a just transition. Third, I will press for a commitment by government to set up a semi-state company to invest in offshore wind, especially in the Celtic Sea, adjacent to the southeast and the port of Bellevue in County Kilkenny. I will work for the development of that port and its fantastic potential to link to offshore. 4, I will press for a ramping up of investment in home retrofits and solar energy panels, using a combination of long-term loans and grants. 5, I will work for affordable, reliable and accessible public transport and develop local links so that villages and towns can be better connected and reduce, at least to some extent, car dependency. 6. I will support a fair deal for family farmers to feed Ireland and restore nature. 7. I will use the Infrastructure, Climate and Nature Fund to support nature restoration, for example, in the areas of the Blackstairs Mountains near me here in South Carlow. 8. I will work with existing companies and the SETU to pilot a circular economy hub in Carlow Town, recycling, reusing and using material more efficiently. In summary, the time for action is long past. We must embrace and share the burden of a just transition that brings everyone on board as we work towards a zero carbon economy. Ireland must show greater moral and political leadership, not just here in Ireland, but on the European and global stage. Now more than ever, Europe must stand together for our common home. Garamila Mahagat.